for Tires Grand Prix of Sebring is well underway right now. Our first day, of course, filled with USF Juniors action. Today, we welcome the drivers in USF Pro 2000 to the show. They'll be racing today and tomorrow. We are lining up right now for the first of two races, the doubleheader for Pro 2000. Alongside me, the driver who dialed things in during qualifying, Jace Denmark for Pabst Racing. Jace, obviously a solid start to the season at St. Petersburg, but to roll out here with a pole to begin the doubleheader, that is a big positive.
Yeah, the field being so tight and so many great drivers, it's good to get that little bit of edge and start pole for this first race.
One of the key things, of course, your team, Pabst Racing, is super fast. It was Miles Rowe up top for a while, then Jordan Missig went to P1.
Yeah.
You snagged it away. So not only do you want to win the weekend, it's always good to be the fastest guy under the tent, too.
Yeah, I mean, we always swap positions, and you look at the data, and it's all so similar. It's so similar. So it's good to have that little bit of edge and be able to know your teammates really well.
Let's talk conditions right now first. When we were here a couple of weeks ago, it was a lot cooler during spring training, and we talked to the drivers in USF Juniors. The rubber's gone down from the 12 hours of Sebring as well. How much can you give us insight on the level of grip that you now have?
You know, I thought it was going to be a little bit more than it was during qualifying. This morning it was really gripped up, and it was mainly because of the cooler conditions. But now, since it's getting hot out, we're going to be racing at 4, so it's going to be nice and sunny. Might get a little greasy.
What about your car itself right now? Do you make a lot of changes from what you had at spring training? Everybody was here, of course, at spring training before St. Pete. Is it pretty much the same baseline, or have you guys dialed things in?
Yeah, we've had a lot of work on the car, so we kind of have a really good baseline of where we're at. So it's just small changes. You know, we felt out the car in practice and dialed some things in, made like little change, and made it happen.
Right after qualifying, you and I talked at how close it was up front. This field is what I expected it to be when we talked about it during the kind of season previews. So many good drivers coming up from USF 2000, drivers coming in from Europe as well. Your thoughts on the level of competition this year?
It's great to see. It's awesome to see. You know, bring it on. I love competition, and it really hones in a driver for the next step.
How crucial, if it is crucial, is for you now to win early in the season? Miles, of course, got a victory already at St. Petersburg, and you were very quick as well. You're right there in the points right now. Do you need a win right now, or do you need a good finish first and foremost?
It's about finishing these races. The points are at the finish line, not, leading the race. It's a point for sure, but it's about finishing the races. Sure, I'll take a win when I can and a pole when I can, and I'll try to do everything I can to maximize, but it's about focusing on the process.
Yeah. So obviously, Jace, do you have any thoughts? Is there strategy going into turn number 1, or do you just see what happens?
Yeah, we're just going to see what happens. Going to lay it all out there and see if anyone tries to hold the outside, which I wouldn't think is wise, but we're going to see what happens.
We saw it in USF Juniors, 4 wide into turn number 1. Will we see it in USF Pro 2000 as well? We will see some tremendous drivers. The first race of the doubleheader coming up next. When we get back from this break, I'll give you the full driver lineup.
Get them while they're hot.
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
Ready? And it's all thanks to Kyle.
Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Get them while they're hot.
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com,
So easy.
which gives us more time for things like
Come on, Mom.
It's ready.
wow. Are you sure it's ready?
Oh, it's ready. And it's all thanks to Kyle.
Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
Welcome back to Sebring International Raceway. The USF Pro 2000 cars rolling their way out onto the grid as the class before has now vacated that area. The drivers working their way out here now, and again, 19 drivers set to go to fire up their first race. As again, a double header here for drivers in USF Pro 2000 and in USF 2000. We'll see those USF 2000 drivers on Saturday and Sunday. One of those drivers, thankfully, joining me here right now in the broadcast booth, Evagoras Papasabas from J. Howard Driver Development, coming in fourth place in points after a great run. Evagoras at St. Petersburg, couple of good runs for you. How excited are you to get on this racetrack tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. Second place in St. Petersburg. Very good result for me and the team. And second in St. Petersburg, so how does first place sound here?
That's it, right? One more spot.
Yep, just one more.
What do you think about Sebring? I know you told me before you had quite a bit of time to test here. This is a bumpy racetrack. It's one that I think that if you're comfortable at, you're going to be quicker. If you don't feel comfortable with the bumps, you're going to be more tentative. How about you? Are you going to be aggressive when we go racing tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very comfortable with this track. A lot of time at this track, as this is actually during the off season. We only went to this track, Sebring, no other track. So we have a lot of experience here. Very comfortable with the track, and I'm very comfortable with the car. A lot of experience in the car. So it's all going to come down to racing. Going to be very aggressive. Get those positions.
J. Howard Driver Development with a couple of pilots in this race here as well. We'll go through the grid here momentarily, but as those cars get themselves up here, we'll chat more here with Evagoras. But you do have a couple of teammates in the USF Pro 2000 category. Do you think you'll be able to maybe sit down and talk to them maybe about the way the track is, the track conditions, whatever it may be? It's obviously a different race car. They have more horsepower, more downforce, more brakes, more tire, more everything. But do you think you'll sit down with your teammates, Ricardo Scotto and Risu Sujima, after the day to talk about it before you go on track tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a different car, like you said, but it's the same racetrack. And, right after the conditions haven't changed much, the track is always changing, but I think I definitely can talk to them, see how it felt for them, how the track felt, because they've been on the track when, let's say, it doesn't feel good and when it does feel good and how that, transfers like that. So, being able to talk to them how the track feels, give me some background information before I go on track.
They were also on track at 8:30 this morning, which is key. They got their practice session in USF Pro 2000 or 8:35 this morning, and it was significantly cooler. It's interesting. Right now at about 88 degrees here, ambient temperature trackside, right around what we expected to be the high, but it was 60-something degrees this morning, so that kind of changes things as well. As you know, cooler in the morning. It's going to be hotter when you go racing in the afternoon tomorrow. That's one thing to think about, too, because the cooler air is going to make everything a little bit different when you roll out on track for practice tomorrow morning.
Yeah, the cooler air, we make more power. The engine makes more power. Just the car in general is cooler. The track's cooler, so everything is a little bit faster, a little bit different. We practice at 8:30 in the morning and then qualify around midday, I say, and then we race in the afternoon. So it's going to be the key is going to be able to adapt to those different track conditions, and that's what's going to put you on your podium.
All of these drivers have to adapt to the conditions this afternoon right now, and they're all set to go on pit lane, folks. It's time to get things underway. 19 drivers ready to roll. We'll give you the driver grid after this, but right now, let's get things underway. Drivers, start your engines. And with that, 19 engines coming to life, the elite engine power plants in the back of all these Tatis IP22 cars. Let's have a look at the 19-car grid that's about set to roll off pit lane here at Sebring to fire up their component, their first of 2 races here at the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Sebring. We'll have 19 drivers in the field, tail of the field. In the number 93 for Exclusive Autosport in the C4 Energy Drink Machine, it is Lindsey Brewer. Brewer in the number 93 starting 19th. Row number 9 will have Nicholas Monteiro for Neotech, the driver from the Brazilian F4 Series, working his way up here into USF Pro 2000, the number 81 starting 18th, alongside Jackson Lee at Avon, Indiana in the Turn 3 Motorsport number 47. Row number 8, Jack William Miller on the outside in the number 40, and on the inside, Ricardo Escoto, the Mexican for Shea Howard Driver Development in the number 4. Row 7 will see Christian Weir, driver we've watched in USF 2000 for the last couple of years, number 32 for TJ Speed, starting on the outside of row number 7. And on the inside, in the number 7 machine, it'll be Bajoy Garg. Garg out of Atherton, California. Garg in the number 7 for D-Force Racing. Into the top 12 now, row 6, Yuban Sundaramurthy out of Delafield, Wisconsin. In the number 90, the Indian-American driver for Exclusive Autosport, starting in the 12th position. Inside from Ireland, number 2, Jonathan Brown from Turn 3 Motorsports. Row 5, Salvador de Alba, 2 times a winner last year in this USF Pro 2000 category, the number 91, driving for Exclusive Autosport. P10 start for him. And on the inside, another winner from last year, 2nd place in points right now for D-Force Racing, Kiko Porto. In the number 12, a former USF 2000 champion. He'll start from 9th. So it will be Porto and de Alba on row 5. Reese Ushijima, talked about him already. One of Ivo Goris's teammates at J. Howard Driver Development. He will start in the 8th position outside of row number 4. And Liram Zendelli for TJ Speed, the German running under the Albanian flag, will start 7th in the number 10. Look out for the drivers here on row number 3. Joel Gransfors, 2nd last year in GB3, looking pretty good here. The number 92 for Exclusive Autosport. He's dialed things in. He'll start 6th. And on the inside, the reigning USF 2000 champion, Michael D'Orlando, in the number 1 scholarship car, running for Turn 3 Motorsport. He'll start P5. Drivers working their way out of turn number 10 as they continue this warm-up lap to go green next time by. Road number 2 will have Jordan Missing on the outsides. The Paps Racing guys looking very good, occupying 3 of the top 4 positions. Jordan Missing out of Illinois, the number 19 second-year driver for Paps Racing in the 4th position. Inside of that row, Francesco Pizzi, the Italian in the 55, leading the way for the TJ Speed crew. Pizzi starting P3. 19 drivers in the field, put 2 on the front row, off pole. Driver was in a battle, at least both these drivers actually in the battle for the championship in USF 2000 last year. Miles Rowe in the Paps Racing with Force Indy Machine, the number 99. Starting on the outside of the front row and laying down a qualifying lap of 1:58.405. Grabbing a point there. Jace Denmark out of Scottsdale, Arizona. In the number 20, will start on the pole. It'll be Denmark and Rowe on row 1. Pizzi and Missig row 2. D'Orlando and Gransfors on row 3, Zendelli and Ushijima on row 4. Row 5, Porto alongside De Alba. Row 6 is Brown and Sundaramurthy. Row 7, Garg and Weir. Row 8, Escoto and Miller. Row 9, Lee and Monteiro. And on row number 10, Lindsey Brewer. We'll bring you in really quickly here, Eva Goris. This is it. This is the cool up lap. Get yourself ready to go. What's going through your mind as you're coming down 16-17?
Well, as a driver, you need to make sure that your tires are good and up to temperature for that first lap, because that's where the positions are going to be made the first lap. So you need to make sure your car is up, warm, and you need to make sure that if you are not on the front row, you need to make sure that you are as close to the car in front as possible to not leave much of a gap. And if you are on the pole, make sure you stay in your lane, get a good start as the flag goes green.
There we go. Indeed, everybody in a little bit different situation, all with a different attack. And we still have yellow, I believe. Looking out here, yeah, still full course yellow. I thought we were getting ready to go for green. I think everybody else was. The USF Pro Championships pace car did not head into pit lane, so one more lap. So anybody who may have struggled potentially with getting their heat built into the tires are going to get one more lap to do so. And again, that's what, of course, Eva Goris was saying. You have to build the heat into the tires. Not only that, you build the heat into the brakes as well. You kind of ride those brakes a little bit. The heat from the discs will then get into the wheel as well. That will heat up the tire from the inside. All the strategies you use to make sure the tire is at as high a temperature as you can when you roll into turn number 1.
Yeah, it's very important to have your tires warmed up, and stuff like this, it doesn't happen all the time, so you can't be counting on getting a yellow flag instead of a green to get that second lap. So you need to make sure that on the first lap, on the warm-up lap, coming to the last corner, that you are lined up as close to the car in front as possible. Your brakes, your tires are warm, you're warmed up, everything, you got to be ready to go, because once it goes green, it goes green.
Indeed, and the driver, actually, we'll give a shout out here. The driver who is actually behind the wheel of the pace car today is a former kart racer, Morgan Healy-Maskey, who is on her honeymoon here this weekend with her husband, John Maskey, IMSA race director and race official, is driving our pace car. I've had a chance to watch Morgan throughout many years of racing, so great to see her behind the wheel. She does a lot of work with us in timing and scoring as well, but driving the safety car here today. Being told one of the drivers potentially having some trouble, it might be Kiko Porto. We'll hope to get some more information there. But again, one more warm-up lap to work their way around. Let's talk a little bit about turn number 1, then Eva Goris. Obviously, last year, after an injury at a karting event at the end of 2021, you weren't able to start 2022, having to be in the hospital, a little bit of an injury that you didn't go straight to the hospital after the injury, but there was something you had to get taken care of. So St. Petersburg, you'd never been there before, and we talked about the fact there was nothing, the packed full of rookies in USF 2000. That opening corner, your first time having to tackle that opening corner, so wide on the entry. It's a treacherous corner. I think turn 1 at Sebring, very similar, because there's, you get off on the outside of turn 1, you carry too much speed, and you're in the grass, you could get into trouble. Is there any concern about turn 1? You're able to do it in St. Petersburg. Do you have any concern at turn 1 when you go racing tomorrow?
For me, I don't really have much of concern. I mean, just making sure not to go too wide, because obviously you get onto the dirty part of the track, and then that is when you're at risk for going off into the grass and potentially into the wall to end your race. So, for me, just to, stay somewhat safe, not too safe, not letting everyone go by me, but also just being safe and being aggressive enough to possibly make a move around the outside if you keep it tight to the driver next to you.
It's interesting. A lot of times when you are being the aggressor, you may be even safer. You're kind of taking control of the corner as opposed to let everything happen and then having to react. You're kind of you're being more proactive than reactive. I think sometimes that puts you in a better position when you're coming into a start like that, an opening corner.
Yeah, I mean, when you are attacking a driver, they're reacting to what you're doing. They're going defensive down the inside. So in a way, I guess you could say that you do have the control over the corner. You can keep it tight to the driver in front, make sure not to make contact, but to keep it tight, because the wall is a few feet in past the white lines. You could really push the track limits and get close to each other.
Lining up once again. This time the drivers are ready to go. The Pabst Racing front row on the outside coming through Sunset Bend. He'll have the inside of turn number 1. That is Jace Denmark alongside his teammate Miles Rowe. Row 2, Francesco Pizzi and Jordan Missig. That's row 2. Field looking good as they get ready to roll up here. And for the first of 2 races for USF Pro 2000, we are green, green, green. And right to the bottom of the racetrack goes Rowe to try to defend to the inside. Pizzi immediately dives to the wide to the outside. Here comes Rowe to the inside of Denmark. He'll try to get him to the inside. Denmark's going to try to roll the outside. He'll get up over the curve. How much did Rowe have to get off it? He's going to lead to the inside of the corner. Rowe's going to come out with the lead here, and coming into the, I believe, 3rd spot. Is it going to be Pizzi? He's fighting hardcore with Jordan Missig. Missig throws it to the bottom, and I believe that is Missig potentially in to the 3rd spot. We are now underway. An issue with Kiko Porto, indeed, who has fallen to the tail of the field. Maybe even Michael D'Orlando. That's D'Orlando here, I think. Yeah, D'Orlando's going to pull the car off to the inside of the back straightaway. So a couple of cars off. I believe that might be Joel Grandforce actually able to attack from 6th. He could be the driver into P3. So Grandforce potentially to the 3rd spot. We'll have a look as they come out of turn number 7 through 8, 9. We're going to see them pop into the view here of turn number 10. There's your leader, Miles Rowe. And I think that is indeed, that is Denmark into 2nd and Joel Grandforce jumping up into P3 in the exclusive Autosport number 92. Good start for him. Tough one for the last couple of USF 2000 champions. Michael D'Orlando and Kiko Porto are not going to get the opening lap in the books. That hurts both of those drivers coming into the event here. Where were they? Porto P2 in the championship. Yeah, he was 2nd at both races at St. Petersburg. D'Orlando was back in 17th. He needed to have a really good run. He's going to refire that car, I believe. Indeed, you watch him sliding to the inside. He's going to try to get that thing back to pit lane. I don't know if he was hoping to bring out a yellow, but right now as they work their way up here, you can see a bit of a wave back and forth. Look at the blocking down to the bottom of the racetrack, deep in the field as well. That's a scrap, I think, between Christian Weir and Jack Miller. That's at the tail of the field. There's Lindsey Brewer in that C4 Energy machine. She'll work her way here again, trying to stick right there with Jackson Lee. Leader stretching away just a little bit. The number 55 of Pizzi now, seeing if he can't roll back up here on Joel Grandforce. So Grandforce, the exclusive Autosport car, chasing these two Pabst racing machines of Miles Rowe. And no, we have full course yellow. Full course yellow. I would assume for the car of Pizzi, you can see the safety car is out. The drivers have brought themselves down to speed. They were at it coming out of turn 17, saw the yellow flag, and we'll slow things down. So the first yellow flag of the weekend, we did not get one yet for USF Juniors. They went green to checker in both of the races, and this one's not even an incident. I don't think any drivers got together. Ivagor's, I think it was potentially a mechanical problem for Kiko Porto. Not sure where he is on the racetrack. One of my spotters telling me potentially 10 and 11, Kiko Porto, so tough for him. That's got to be a mechanical.
Yeah, and stuff like that, you can't do anything about that. It's it just happens. So yeah, it's frustrating. But I believe they do have another race. So there's always that time to get the car fixed and to give it another go in the next race.
Yeah, fight back in the second race of the doubleheader here this week. And once again, Ivagor's Papasavas joining me from Jay Howard Driver Development. Young driver that we saw last year, did a half season in USF 2000, but will run the full program this year with Jay Howard, as we had said. Coming into the program now, fourth place in points. Had a pretty strong run, second and fourth in those two races at St. Petersburg. He'll look to maintain that momentum when they head back onto the track. Of course, those drivers, USF 2000, running here on Saturday and Sunday. So again, we have a little stoppage here as an issue for Kiko Porto. Michael D'Orlando, I believe, able to get himself back into pit lane. A couple other drivers maybe with some issues as well. But here is the lineup as they run here after the initial battling. Miles Rowe taking the lead, as we saw from Jace Denmark. Got a better run down the straightaway. Denmark came to the outside, didn't block all the way to the bottom. And Rowe immediately on the green dove to the left side of the racetrack and held that bottom. And as soon as his teammate Denmark started to come a bit to driver's right to set up for the corner, he just kind of tucked to the inside. They went side by side out of 1, 2, through 2, over to 3. And Miles Rowe taking control of the lead. Denmark sliding back into second, but the man on the move early was Joel Grandforce in the exclusive Autosport number 92. Again, great to have him here. Runner-up last year, the GB3 Series over in Europe. Now up into the third spot, Francesco Pizzi in fourth. Liram Zendelli in fifth. Jordan Missick sixth. Reese Usajima up a couple spots into seventh. Salvador de Alba eighth. Yuvan Sundar Murthy started 12th. He goes up 3 spots into ninth. And Jonathan Brown rounding out the top 10 right now. So, indeed, the AMR IndyCar safety crew and the track crew here at Sebring will do their best to get this track cleared up. Still full course yellow being shown here at start-finish. So I assume we'll go back one time around. We know that we saw the issue with Michael D'Orlando. He brought that car to a stop on the back straightaway, but then it was able to get himself back down here. I don't know that he's still on pit lane or not. D'Orlando, only 1 lap in the books. Same with Nicolas Montiero, and the same with Ricardo Escoto. Kiko Porto not even getting 1 lap in. So apparently what we're being told is that it's not actually D'Orlando or Porto that brought out the incident. It was Ricardo Escoto and Nicolas Montiero, those drivers, I think, getting contact potentially, that has brought this yellow out over in turn number 7. So that would be the end of the back straightaway. Indeed, as I look over my shoulder here, there are safety crews over in turn number 7. That's down by the hotel. That long straightaway leads into a tight right-hander. And it looks to me, from based on what I see, that the incident could actually potentially be on the exit of the corner. So they maybe were able to get out of that corner cleanly and then had contact coming through. So being told that it is potentially under review from race control. But yeah, there is work to be done after an incident on the racetrack. We'll see some yellow time happen here as the drivers working their way through 1 and 2. Miles Rowe there leading Jace Denmark. Sure, Denmark not pleased at all losing the lead, having qualified on the pole. He would like to have, I think, let out of the opening corner, but not surprised at all that Miles Rowe got aggressive. That's really part of his DNA in terms of his racing career that we've seen. He is aggressive, will make the move all the time. And Ivagor's, you said this, very interesting. You know, the opening lap, especially the start, that's the best opportunity to make overtakes. Yeah, you can make a mistake and essentially end your race. You can't win it in the opening corner. You can lose it, but, man, it's just so enticing because that's your best opportunity when you're side by side to be able to make those positions up.
Yeah, that's the best opportunity because during the race, if you're following a car in front of you, with these cars, you get the dirty air from the wings. So you know that in the corners, you don't obviously have the performance, so it's harder to stay close to them. And yes, down the straight, you do get a little bit of the slipstream to suck up to them. But yeah, during the start, that's really because everyone's the closest there, so you can make anywhere from like 1 to maybe even like half the field if there's any sort of wreck. So the first lap, it's all or nothing there.
Yeah, we saw Joel Granforce get a couple of spots there as well. Those of you watching online could see that the flatbed truck actually on its way over to turn number 7 right now. So obviously some major damage to at least one or both of those cars of Ricardo Escoto and Nicholas Montero. Escoto for Jay Howard Driver Development and Nicholas Montero for Neotech Motorsports, the new team. But indeed, as Ivagora said, one of the things about these cars, if you can get a pass done on a start or a restart, it's much easier because especially with the sweeping corners here, we mentioned the fact that coming from USF 2000 to USF Pro 2000, there's just more of everything. That car that was designed for USF 2000 coming, as the new car back in 17 to replace the old Van Diemen, that Van Diemen had a lot of aero downforce. They dialed it back a lot more mechanical grip than aero downforce on the USF 17, which is now the USF 22. But then you pile the downforce back on when you want that more grip for the drivers in Pro 2000, and that's it. Because you get the more aero, then you get the aero wash. A lot of drivers will complain about that at a track like a Road America coming through, let's say, the downhill carousel when you're trying to get in behind somebody. You have to have some of that wing over to get some air rolling over the front of the car. There are some fast sweepers here too, Ivagoras, and that's the issue, right? If you get behind somebody, it's tough to pass here, even if you're coming right behind them through turn number 16.
Yeah, it's those long sweeping corners. That's really where the wings, the downforce comes in. In slower corners like turn 7, where it's a very hard braking zone, that is, the mechanical grip is that's what's important there. You get the slipstream coming up out of turn 5, so that's really one of the best passing opportunities on the track right there.
Once again, Ivagoras Papasavas, a USF 2000 driver, joining me. We're putting them to work here right now. The guys that were with me here in USF Juniors, they only had a couple little things to say because we went green to checker in both these races, obviously putting our guest driver here to work during these yellow flag periods. Again, Miles Rowe, the leader, Chase Denmark in second, Joel Granforce, Francesco Pizzi, and Liram Zendelli there as the top 5. Jordan Missig in 6th, Risu Shijima in 7th. Salvador de Alba in 8th, Yuvan Sundaramurthy 9th, and Jonathan Brown rounding out the current top 10. There is Michael D. Orlando there in the USF Pro 2000 scholarship livery. Back out onto the racetrack, and good for him to get back out on track because even one more lap's going to put him a couple of spots up. And he did not have the weekend he wanted at all at St. Petersburg. D. Orlando at 18th and an 11th. Puts him 17th in points, but because of the success up front of the Miles Rose and the Kiko Porto and Francisco Pizzi and Christian Brooks, who's not here, he's not that far back coming in. D'Orlando at 13 points, was only 7 points behind Jonathan Brown in 8th, 11 points behind Zendelli, 14 points, 12 or 13 points behind Granforce, so not that far back, but this second DNF, or not DNF, but second issue that puts him further to the tail of the field. Not what you need, as you know, Ivagoras. When you're starting the season, man, you just want to lock some good results so that you can make sure you're in the fight up front.
Yeah, I mean, all mechanical issues really really a nightmare when it's like your first season in like any kind of series, because it's all about logging those laps, getting as many miles under your belt as you can. To learn as many things, how the car feels when you do this or that, stuff like that. 15 laps or a window of 40 minutes for the drivers here in USF Pro 2000. Their first run here at the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Sebring. Rob Howden here in the booth alongside Ivagoras Papasavas. Let's talk about you right now. Give you the opportunity here. Second and fourth in the opening round at St. Petersburg. So you're on the podium. That was big. I know you're super excited about that. But you roll in here now, sitting fourth place in points. You're only 10 points out of P1, which is Lockie Hughes. First, my question would be, were you surprised by the success, the pace at St. Petersburg, or was that kind of what you were expecting rolling in? That was kind of what I was expecting. I said this in St. Petersburg. I really do like street courses. Same with Toronto. I'm very excited to go over there. I was expecting it as during testing. We did a lot of testing here at Sebring. Very bumpy, so almost like you could say a permanent street course.
Well, that's why IndyCar tests here all the time, right? They test here to be ready for St. Petersburg. Exactly right.
Yeah, so we knew that we were very fast in testing, consistently in the top 5, top 10. So I was expecting to do good in St. Petersburg, but, it's always great to actually get that result and step onto the podium.
So the next question then is, how do those results potentially change your thought for the rest of the season? Obviously, you're out of the gate here right now, right? You're in that, I always say St. Petersburg. Winning there doesn't guarantee you the championship, but it's definitely going to put you to the conversation for the rest of the year. Number one, how does it feel being in that conversation, knowing you could be racing for a scholarship? And does it change the way you approach maybe this weekend or when we get to Indianapolis in May?
Yeah, it changes a little bit because that kind of mystery before the season starts of knowing where is everyone pace-wise, that's gone now that the round at St. Petersburg is over. And being in that top 5 in points, getting myself into the conversation, it feels good, competing at the front as, everyone wants to compete at the front and only a few can. So being able to do that feels good.
I think the cool thing for you as well and for your teammate Lockie Hughes is you've got a couple of guys, yourself and Lockie, with good speed. You're going to be able to go back and forth. You're going to be able to look at your data, and the other drivers you have on the team, Luca and Al, are going to be able to kind of play off of your data as well. It's going to kind of bring everybody back up.
Yeah, I think definitely by the end of the season, as a team, we'll all be in the top 10. And me and Lockie, we have a good relationship. We share data. We talk about races. How that went for both of us. So it's very good. Also to have a good relationship with your teammates.
Agreed. Yeah.
Off track and on the track, all that stuff, because they're your teammates.
That's it. You want to be able to use them on track. Pace car is gone, folks. I think we're going to be going back racing. We'll see whether or not it happens this time out. You can see the final drivers coming through here. Indeed, I believe. And, the green flag is flying. We're underway. Back at it once again as the drivers work their way down. You can see a little bit of a weave there for Miles Rowe to see if he can't defend, to get a feel of what he's got going. A nice little gap. He gets a good jump on the green and holds off his teammate Jace Denmark. Graham Force slotting into that second spot. Pizzi now running in fourth rather. Behind Pizzi is his teammate Liram Zendelli. So we're back underway. 5 laps in the books, 10 more to go. As an extended yellow flag period for an incident on the racetrack involving Ricardo Escoto and Nicolas Monteiro. Took a little time to get cleaned up, but the crew doing a tremendous job. We only lost a couple of laps there, about 3 in total. Back at it right now is Rowe jumping into that early lead. They'll work their way around the sweeper through turn number 7. Everybody looking clean through 7 right now. We'll lose them for a bit, and they'll pop back into review when they get through that 8-9 combination over to turn number 10, kind of a sweeping corner, the back part of the racetrack, into the braking zone here, the right-hander of turn number 10. And we will see Rowe be the first driver to come through, out onto the rumbles, and look at this battle further back. Yeah, Joel Gramforth putting some pressure on Jace Denmark, and in the meantime, those 2 TJ Speed drivers, Pizzi and Zendelli, looking very aggressive, hungry for a spot to work their way onto the podium very early in the run here, though. We'll see who gets aggressive first, and it may be that run down into 17. It could be the run into turn number 1. A little more breathing room this time through 15 for Denmark. Gramforth trying to get the speed. Look behind them, too, right there. Ushijima, and then De Alba, then Sundar Murthy, all ready to fight. Everybody picking up more pace throughout the day, and we'll see them get more speed tomorrow as well. 88 degrees here trackside. It's a warm one. And again, leader weaving a bit on the straightaway. Big gap right now for Rowe. He's stepping things up here. You can see those cars, the suspension travel not near as much as you have on the prototypes that we saw here last weekend at the 12 Hours of Sebring. These cars much more stiffly sprung. So it is a rough ride for these drivers coming through Sunset Bend, turn number 17. The gap now, first and second, you can see it's about 7 or 8 car lengths. So pretty good advancement right now. Denmark into the second spot. Gramforth trying to come after him. The battle further back, you can see it kind of stepping up. That is Rhys Ushijima trying to go to work here now on Liram Zendelli. So not only is he trying to find a way by his teammate Pizzi, but he's also got the guy behind him, Ushijima, for Jay Howard Driver Development, pushing. In morning practice today, Ushijima was P3. Felt comfortable with the way this track had kind of evolved. The 12 Hours of Sebring has brought a lot of rubber down and a lot more grip than spring training back a couple of weeks ago. Ivagoras, that's something you're going to be looking forward to, I think, feeling that grip through turn number 1.
Yeah, 2 very long races over last weekend happened with the 1,000 miles of Sebring and the 12 Hours of Sebring. So it's going to be very interesting to see like how the racing line changes as the grip gets laid down, how the car feels, and, you know, changing the setup of the car accordingly.
A lot to be done when you roll out here. And that's kind of one of the advantages of running for a team that may have different groups. As we know, Jay Howard Driver Development, of course, already on the racetrack here with USF Pro 2000. Other teams like Exclusive and D-Force and VRD have been on track with USF Juniors and potentially the Pro 2000 class as well. So everybody getting a feel for it, and then, of course, taking that data, that understanding, and figuring out what you want to do setup-wise for the USF 2000 cars. Back onto the straightaway here at Ullman Straight, the long run down into turn number 17, out of 16. And once again, a little bit of a weave here as Miles Rowe trying to see if he can't break the draft. He's allowed to weave back and forth, not like he is defending at all. He's got enough of a gap, but just doing what he can to potentially hold that draft at a minimum for his teammate Jace Denmark. He's trying to reel him in. Remember, Miles Rowe comes in with a 3-point lead over Kiko Porto, who is dead last in the order right now. This is going to be unbelievably tough. It's going to allow Rowe to potentially pull out to a massive lead. Back down in 19 positions would put Porto at just 52 points. And with a win here, Rowe could be, 31 points ahead of Porto. What a horrible situation here for Porto. Here comes the battle again. Ushijima looking to the inside of 5. Does he pull alongside Zendelli? As they'll work their way up here. I want to say that I think maybe Missing might have got by too. We'll see what plays out when they come back around, but a lot of action as they work their way down into turn number 7. That's the hard-breaking right-hander. A little bit of a chicane coming out, a little right-left combination. Or I guess it would be left-right as you come through that cane. Come through the right corner, left, then right back over for the sweeper over to turn number 10. Let's have a look when they come through. We may have a bit of an order. There's Rowe, Denmark, Grand Force, Pizzi, yeah, and there it is right there. There's the move into the, I think, 5th spot for Jordan Missig. So Missig able to get up a spot here as well. So some issues there, I think, for Liram Zendelli as Missig went by, and I think Ushijima going to work on him as well. So not sure what happened to either Liram Zendelli or Francesco Pizzi. It's one of the TJ Speed cars, but both of them white just with the numbers on the side. So to pick up which driver that potentially could be. But yeah, you can see one of them has fallen back. There's the car right there. And right behind them then is Salvador de Alba, I believe, going to work. Here's the 2 Turn 3 Motorsport cars, I think, coming through there as well. Jackson Lee and Jonathan Brown. We'll look at lap times. Last time by, Rowe set the fast lap. Remember, there's a bonus point for that as well. A 2 flat 9.84 for Rowe, 2:01.024 for Denmark. So he's actually not that far back. The gap was less than a second last time by. There's Zendelli in that number 10 machine. So it's Zendelli that has fallen back. So move Pizzi there. Good run there for Jordan Missig as well, getting another position. Second-year driver here in USF Pro 2000. Lap number 8 going into the books. Rowe, Denmark. Now another fast lap for Rowe. The gap just over a second, but they were separated by just about a 10th. Rowe quicker than Denmark by just over a 10th of a second. So it's Rowe, Denmark, and Grand Force. You go 1.2 back from Grand Force. He's got some room. Back to Pizzi, who runs in the 4th spot. Jordan Missig and Risu Sajima now in 5th and 6th. Zendelli goes back to 7th. He's going to get some challenging here from Salvador de Alba. Yuvan Sunarurdi and Christian Weir up into the top 10 now. So a good run for Weir as well. Miles Rowe looking to try to get yet another win. 3rd in the opening round at St. Petersburg behind Christian Brooks and Kiko Porto. Was able to work his way forward and grab the win in race number 2. Looking to go back-to-back and start potentially a streak here would extend his point lead. Think about this. 2nd in points coming into the event here was Kiko Porto. He's going to get a 19th place finish. So a win here for Rowe. The change would be massive. It would be 31 points, and that's almost a full race worth of points. 3rd in points was Christian Brooks. He's not here right now. He's not in this event, so he's going to fall down to the tail of the order as well. Francesco Pizzi in 4th, who now runs in 4th, is going to get those points. This could be a massive jump forward for Miles Rowe. Now, Ivagors, it's early. It's very early in the season. We're not going to say anything. It's really just, starting this thing off. The first chapter. We're not even through the first quarter of the year to a certain extent. But, man, as a driver, if you can get out to a lead like that, 30-something points, you're going to feel really comfortable heading to Indianapolis in May.
Yeah, when you have a gap like that, you're very relaxed. You don't have much pressure on you, and you don't have to finish first every single race.
Yeah.
A second, a third, as long as you're on the podium, you can still stay in the mix.
And to have built that lead up means you've had success, so you've got the confidence as well. So confidence and the ability to kind of play more a strategy game in terms of how many points you need to get.
Yeah, and when you build that gap, you know what you're capable of and what your team is capable of. So you know that you're going to be in the front for the entire season. That's
it. Miles Rowe looking to keep himself in the fight for that scholarship that would allow him to work his way into the Indy Next program next year. The scholarship, of course, will send that driver up to the top rung, essentially, one step away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Who will it be, though? Long way to go. This is only the second round. We got lots of racing still to do. We've got to go to Indianapolis. We got to go to the Oval at IRP. Think about the races still to come. Road America, Mid-Ohio, Toronto. Some great tracks. Circuit of the Americas for the drivers here as well in USF Pro 2000. Of course, we'll cap it all off on Labor Day weekend at Portland International Raceway, heading to the Pacific Northwest to see who's going to walk away with that scholarship. And again, right now the gap, 1.3 seconds for Rowe over Denmark on that last lap. I want to know whether or not Granforce has the speed. He's about 0.2 off, not quite there. There's your top five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rowe, Denmark, Granforce, Pizzi, and Missing. P5. Missing actually just went purple. He just turned the fast lap of the race. Great job there for Jordan Missing, who is the fastest driver on the racetrack right now as he looks to put the hammer down. Again, the scholarship for the driver moving up, worth over $664,000 to move to Indy next year. And here's the big rundown. You see all the drivers so close. This is such a tight field. You see everybody on the straightaway essentially at the same time. There's Yuvan Sundermurthy for Exclusive Autosport, currently running in the 8th spot. He's moved his way forward. Remember, he started back in 12th, so it's been a good move forward for Yuvan Sundermurthy. Last time by, 0.2 quicker than Liram Zendelli. So Sundermurthy looks like he could be a driver on the move, potentially to try to go to P7. We'll keep an eye on him for sure. This is Missing now, closing in on Francesco Pizzi. This would be big not only for Jordan if he was able to get into P4, but it would be huge as well, points-wise, not only for the Drivers' Championship for Miles Rowe, but also for the Team Championship as well, because right now Pabst sitting first and second on the racetrack here right now, potentially with Missing in 5th. They could go to P4. That would be big for the Team Championship points as well. And that's one thing to look at as well, Eva Goris. You and Lockie looking good. Al Mori and Lucas St. Jean, your teammates as well. They're starting to put in good results. You guys get a chance to bring Jay Howard Driver Development a team championship as well.
Yeah, and getting that will be very, very good for the team morale and going into seasons in the future. And I think all of us, all four of us, we're all very, very fast. We all have the potential to overall, great rounded team to put us first for the team constructors.
The great thing about the team championship, Ivagorz, is not just the driver. Obviously, the driver goes out to win. The team puts the car together and they go out and drive. It's like it's a complete group effort, right? A group accolades for everybody involved in the team because all the drivers are in there, all the mechanics are involved, the strategists, everybody involved in that kind of success. So that's always a big award for the teams to win. We are working our way closer to the end of this one. It's a 15-lap race, 10 laps down. 5 laps remaining. It'll be 4 to go this next time by. Last time, looking at Miles Rowe, he was 0.2 quicker again. 10th quicker last time by than Denmark. The gap now 1.4 seconds. Here's this fight a little bit further back. That is actually De Alba and Sundermurthy right now. So De Alba and Sundermurthy. I think De Alba was able to get by Yuvan, so that I believe could be De Alba up in 8th, Sundermurthy back into 9th. So it's the two Exclusive Autosport drivers battling inside the top 10. If you look further back, we can see a battle coming. Here they are coming through. De Alba looking strongly here right now. He is 8th, Sundermurthy 9th, Christian Weir in 10th. Rowe now leading by just a second because guess who just went purple last time by? A 1:59.7 for Jace Denmark. Closes it down to a second. Denmark closing on that lap. Will he get quicker and quicker over the final couple of circuits here? 12 laps down, 3 to go. The gap just a second. And he was quicker by 0.3. He needs a bunch of laps like that for Denmark to potentially put the pressure on. That swerving back and forth on the straightaway for Miles Rowe is going to come back again because his teammate's coming, and you can be guaranteed that he's going to get the call. Grand Force is right there as well. So is Pizzi, and so is Missing. Man, second, third, fourth, and fifth are close. Less than a half a second probably separating all of them coming through, so unbelievably close action here. Rowe, though, looking to get his second win of the season. Will it come here to kick off a doubleheader at the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Sebring? 3.7 miles, this racetrack, 17 corners, and it's a bumpy one. It is a ride for sure. These drivers will all be heading to the massage therapist next week because you guys, Evagoras, are going to be sore. And you're young, and you're still going to be sore.
Yeah, I mean, Sebring, it's like I said before, it's like a permanent street course, you know? It's very bumpy, which I guess that's what makes it so special. You know, that's what makes it so different from everything else, where it needs a different kind of driving, you know, a different style of driving to be able to cope with those bumps, and a different kind of car setup, you know, so the car can cope with the bumps and, you know, it doesn't upset the car too much.
That's it. You're going to approach this track much different than you would a smoother circuit. That is for sure. Rowe still holding on to that pace up front. Getting some good laps in the books. Last time he was actually 3 or 4 tenths quicker. There's a driver's drop the wheel. That is Missing. Jordan Missing almost throwing it off the track on the outside of turn number 1. He dropped the right side wheels on the other side. We talked about that earlier. With all the rubber that's gone down, all the racing from the 12-hour, the gap on the outside of the curb where drivers have dropped wheels, you do that over 1,000 kilometers of WEC racing, and then, of course, the 12 hours as well of the Sebring 12-hour. Man, guys are dropping wheels left and right, and the outside of that, those curbs is very deep. The drop-off is significant, more so than it would be once they fill it back in. So these drivers, when you make a mistake like that, it's going to pull you off the racetrack. You have to be very, very wise and very smart in terms of getting to the outside of those curbs. You don't want to use all of them, otherwise you find yourself in trouble. And a driver potentially in trouble right now could be Jace Denmark. For a bit there, he turned a fast lap, a 1:59.7, backed it up with a 2.5, went about 8 tenths slower, not able to keep that 1:59.7 pace up, and that has actually brought Joel Gramforce back into the fight. He's only a half a second back. Gramforce currently sitting P3. He's got Pizzi behind him. He's thinking about trying to make a run at it. 3 laps to go. Rowe, Denmark, Gramforce, Pizzi, and Missing, top 5. Ushijima in 6th, Zendelli 7th, De Alba and Sunamur the 8th and 9th, Weir in 10th, Miller 11th, Lee 12th, Brown 13th, Garg, Brewer, D'Orlando. The drivers remaining on the racetrack, Escoto, Monteiro, and Porto are done. Beautiful machine there for the Pabst Racing with Force Indy set up for Miles Rowe through 17. 2 to go, I believe, this time by 13 laps down. Look at this battle. Here comes Gramforce. Joel Gramforce to the bottom, almost touching wheels. Gramforce to the inside, book it. And here comes Pizzi. Gramforce goes to second. Joel Gramforce up into the second spot. He will defend now, I believe, up into turn number 3. He does. He's got the spot right now. He's going to try to pull away from Denmark. So move Joel Gramforce up into second. There is to the inside Pizzi. Trying to find a way by Denmark as well. They'll work the way out of turn number 5 through 6. Down into turn number 7. Big run here for Pizzi. Does he make a move to the inside? To the inside to cover off goes Denmark. Pizzi trying the bottom. They're side by side coming out of turn number 7. Pizzi, I think, has the spot. Pizzi's gone to third. Had to visually look over my shoulder from the PA booth for that, but when you see them come back into our view here of turn number 10, you're going to see Rowe, then Gramforce, then Pizzi. Look at the white car of Pizzi, I believe, coming through. And there he is. Pizzi's gone to third. Denmark goes back to P4. So the Polster are back to 4th position. His teammate right behind him, that's Jordan Missing. There's the gap to Reese Ushijima, who's got a couple of car lengths over Liram Zendelli, Salvador de Alba, Yuvan Sunamurthy, and Christian Weir. That's the run through turn number 17. Evagoras, you're getting a good look here. You're getting an opportunity to kind of learn a bit here. Man, if you can't get through that corner cleanly, you're going to find someone right on you coming down into one.
Yeah, and you know, all these corners, they all link together in a way. You know, you have the outside one corner, then you have the inside the next. So it's really, you know, a lot can change in a lap. He started that lap, like I'd say second or so, and then now he's down into 4th. So a lot can change in one lap, but you know, right now you'd think he'd probably be pretty frustrated, but you just have to, in situations like this, you just have to stay cool. You know, just stick with the guys in front of you, stay cool, and just salvage what you can.
That's it, man. Get the points you need early on here. As we said, Jace Denmark coming into this race sitting P5 in points, but with Porto having an issue, Christian Brooks not being here, there's a good opportunity. He'll move up to P3 after this race in the championship fight. It is a long season. Right now, though, out front as the leader is Miles Rowe. 2.5 seconds last time by. White flag flying. There's the 55 of Pizzi, who made a good move to the inside over in turn number 7. But watch him again. It's a huge gap now out of turn number 6. The big sweeping right-hander for Miles Rowe. He'll get the call from his spotter, and you got lots of room. Grandforce, what a great run for Joel Grandforce here today. Started 6th, up into 2nd. Could this be the arrival of Grandforce? We've seen a number of great drivers come over from the GB3 category. You think of the Anama Meds, Louis Foster, who have come over here and done extremely well. Foster, of course, the reigning champion in this Pro 2000 category. Grandforce finishing 2nd last year, essentially taking up the spot of Louis Foster. And again, like we saw with Foster, took him a couple of weekends to get comfortable with the racing over here, the car, the tire itself, learning the Cooper tire, a different tire than they run in the GB3 category. So indeed, Grandforce stepping things up here now. A P2 position would give him lots of momentum heading into tomorrow, where we'll have separate qualifying for race number 2. So we'll press the reset button, do it all again. Through 17, Rowe looking pretty good. Big gap back to the rest of that group coming through. So as they work their way on to out of turn 16, they'll come down turn 17, and we will have the drivers working their way through. Looks like we may have a trouble with our turn 17 camera. Not going to get it to pick up. So we'll just wait for them to work their way out of the final corner. This is the fight further back. D'Orlando is down a couple of laps, still scrapping away with one of his turn 3 motorsport teammates. But we sit here and await the potential winner. Indeed, out of turn number 17, he won the 2nd race at St. Petersburg. Call it back-to-back jacks. The win for Miles Rowe. Pabst Racing, Force Indy, scoring the victory here in race number 1 at Sebring. Joel Grandforce coming home in 2nd, 3.2 seconds the margin of victory. Francesco Pizzi in 3rd, Jace Denmark in 4th, Jordan Missing in 5th. 6th was Liram Zendelli. His final lap was his best. Salvador De Alba able to get by Reese Ushijima late, so De Alba up into 7th. Ushijima in 8th. Yuvan Sundaramurthy in 9th, and Christian Weir rounding out the top 10. A little bit of an incident early on. We lost a couple of laps, but after that, Ivagors settled in. We saw some great racing. Miles Rowe didn't flinch. Not one mistake at all, but man, the battle for 2nd on back was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, for Miles Rowe, pretty dominant. You know, he started pretty well, got himself up into 1st, and, you know, just put the laps in, you know, stayed consistent, hit his marks, and did what he had to do. But, yeah, 2nd place, you know, big scrap for that. Big group of like three, 4 cars, I'm not sure. But, yeah.
Good stuff, Ivagors. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, Ivagors Papasavas joining me here. He'll be on track tomorrow morning for USF 2000. Best of luck. You come in here looking good in points. Great run for sure at St. Petersburg. Have a good one.
Yep, thank you.
Ivagors Papasavas from J. Howard Driver Development. Folks joining me here. Listen, these drivers are going to be heading to Victory Lane right now. I won't be there. We're not going to have it live because with a little break in the action there, we had an issue with those yellows. We've pushed the time. We're not far away from getting things underway here for the drivers in this USF Juniors event. They're going to cap things off. I'm set to go with driver introductions in about 5 minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll run some commercials, and we'll come back and fill you in on the grid for USF Juniors.
Get them while they're hot.
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
Ready? And it's all thanks to Kyle.
Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Get them while they're hot.
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
It's ready.
Wow. Are you sure it's ready?
Oh, it's ready. And it's all thanks to Kyle.
Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
Discount Tire can change my tires and wiper blades at the same time? You can change your tires and wiper blades at the same time with Discount Tire.
I'm going back to bed.
You can change your tires and wiper blades at the same time with Discount Tire.
This is the USF Pro Championships, the world's greatest motorsports ladder program with a proven formula, where top junior drivers from around the world come to compete across the best tracks in North America, where the opportunity to climb to the top is guaranteed, promoting every champion to the next stage, where champions are made and legends established. 52 races, over 50 up-and-coming drivers, and 3 scholarships valued at over $1.3 million. The USF Pro Championships, tomorrow's champions, forged today.
Get them while they're hot.
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
Ready? And it's all thanks to Kyle.
Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper. It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Day 2 of a 4-day Grand Prix of Grand Prix of Sebring, brought to you again by Cooper Tires. As you can see, the drivers working their way down here in USF Juniors. We've had some great racing in this category thus far, 13 drivers in total. They'll get themselves down here. We'll be getting ready to rock and roll for another 10-lapper. Now, I'll cap off essentially their component of this 4-day weekend. They ran Thursday and Friday. It's Friday and Saturday for USF Pro 2000, Saturday and Sunday for USF 2000. So, again, 13 drivers set to go here right now. And, again, making sure that the track is clear and ready to go. So, we'll bring those cars down. And before we go through the grid, we'll do that when they get onto the racetrack. Joining me now, another one of our drivers from the USF 2000 program, of a driver who ran actually in USF Juniors last year, Elliot Cox from Sarah Fisher Hartman Driver Development. Thanks for joining me. Great to have you up here, and I'm sure you're excited to get racing.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. There's been some great racing so far. That Indy Pro 2000 race a second ago was great. The USF Juniors races so far this weekend have been awesome. I'm really looking forward to it, and it looks like we're going to be able to produce some nice, close racing.
Well, the good thing is, yeah, we've got USF 2000, we've got the pro guys. They've shown you what can happen on the racetrack. It's up to you USF 2000 guys now to deliver for us to cap off the weekend, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think with how well the St. Petersburg weekend went, and there's just a lot of potential in this field, I think we're going to put on a great show.
13 drivers, as I say, in the field. We'll come back to Elliot Cox throughout this race here now. The drivers have worked their way down onto a pit lane to get things underway, and we'll give you the full driver rundown here. Again, they've already run a couple of races, one yesterday afternoon, one earlier today, and we've had a couple of D-Force drivers who have scored victories so far. But the driver leading the points coming in is your pole sitter, Joey Brienza, for Exclusive Autosport. A couple of second-place finishes, but as any driver will tell you, they want to get that victory. Drivers are on the grid and getting set to go, folks. Let's fire things up right now. We have 13 elite engines ready to light the fires. Here we go. Drivers, start your engines. And I like the sound of that down on pit lane. Engines firing up. And let's have a look at the grid as they get set to go. 13 drivers in the field, starting 13th in the number 93 machine out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida for Exclusive Autosport. It's Giovanni Cabrera. Row number 6, we'll see a Brazilian and an American. It is Eric Schouten in the number 90 for Exclusive Autosport out of Brazil. And the West Coast driver out of California, Carson Etter, in the number 57, looking for another great run of experience. Into the top 10 now, row number 5, Brady Golan on the outside in the number 18 machine out of Austin, Texas. Rookie here in this program as well for D-Force Racing. He'll start alongside his teammate Lucas Facuri, another one of the Brazilians in the number 17. He'll start in the 9th spot. Row number 4, all the way back in 8th position. A win in race number 1, 5th in race number 2. He's right there in the championship fight. That is Australia's Quinn Armstrong. In the number 16, he'll look for a big start to work his way forward. The D-Force Racing driver starting 8th alongside the DC Autosport pilot Ethan Ho in the number 68 out of Los Angeles, California. Ho in the number 7 will look to see if he can't work his way onto the podium from the inside of row number 4. Row 3, will be a couple drivers from VRD Racing. On the outside at Hoboken, New Jersey, it's Max Taylor in the number 33. And on the inside, the number 12, that is Ethan Barker. Last year a privateer, this year running with VRD Racing. Barker out of Houston, Texas. Row number 2, Jack Jeffers on the outside. Couple of third-place finishes for Jeffers to start the season for Exclusive Autosport in that number 92. He'll start 4th. Inside, Jimmy Lockhart in the number 48 for VRD Racing. On the front row with 13 drivers in the field, Nicholas Giaffoni coming off a victory in race number 2. In fact, his fast lap in race number 2 was better than his second fast qualifying lap. That moves him up to the outside of the front row, so good for Giaffoni. But the driver they've chased to the green every race so far, Joey Brienza out of Golden, Colorado, the Exclusive Autosport pilot in the number 91, will once again set the pace out of turn number 17. 2 second-place finishes for Brienza. He leads the points right now coming into race number 3. Brienza and Giaffoni on row number 1. Lockhart and Jeffers on row 2. Barker and Taylor on row 3. Ho and Armstrong on row 4. Fakuri and Golan row 5. Eder and Schouten on row number 6. And Cabrera on row number 7. Let's go back here again to Elliot Cox. Let me ask you this question. We've talked about what drivers do on the warm-up laps, getting the heat built into the tires, trail the brakes a bit, see if they can't warm everything up. What's the mindset? Are you a guy that, do you say anything to yourself? Is there something you say? Stay calm, stay focused. Do you have kind of a mantra that you use on that lap before we go green?
For me, I just kind of tell myself to stay focused, stay calm, get what I can on the start. That's pretty much it. A lot of it's focused on getting heat in the tires. Lots to be worked with the brakes in these cars with not much downforce. You have to generate a lot of heat with the tires with the brakes. But yeah, just a lot of staying focused and working your way to the front. Is it in your mind, or do you, like, I know when I drive, I verbally talk to myself. I say, come on, stay cool, stay focused. Here we go. You know, I literally say it out loud. And you do the same thing, or is it in your head? No, I do the same thing. I love that. Every driver's a little bit different on that warm-up lap, because if you've been sitting on the grid, you're getting hot, but once you roll off the grid, the air starts coming through you a little bit. The minute you're on the track and getting ready to go, you get the visor down, you are ready to go racing. And all of these drivers are set to go here. It'll be 10 laps, as we said, 15 for Pro 2000, 12 for Elliott and the rest of the USF 2000 drivers tomorrow. And again, 10 laps here for the drivers in USF Juniors. They will look from here to the event at the end of April at Barber Motorsports Park, a Thursday-Friday race as part of the NTT IndyCar Series event at Barber. So again, wrapping things up here for all these drivers. We'll see, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 more drivers join the field for Barber. So this new program, brand new race car again for 2023 with the Tatis JR23, the same chassis, very similar car to the one they have in USF 2000. Some other different parts, different wheels, brake package, a little cheaper, a little more affordable to drive. But look at the cars lined up. I like the looks of this, folks. We are getting set to go. Race 3 for USF Juniors is green, green, green. Oh, and Giaffoni trying to crowd down to the bottom. A good start so far, I believe. Let's see if he holds on to the spot. They'll work their way through here now, and indeed, that is a lead for Joey Brienza. I'll tell you, Giaffoni tried to come down the racetrack. He'll go way wide from drivers right to left. He's going to look to the inside. Lockhart coming in turn number 3. Lockhart goes way wide on the outside to be able to hold that spot. Clean through turn number 1, 2, and 3 thus far. There is the lead right now for Joey Brienza. They'll work their way under the bridge, and it's the big sweeping turn 6. It's going to be about 5 or 6 car lengths down into turn number 7. He looks good so far. Giaffoni holding on to that 3rd spot. So a good start opening lap. Brienza's going to lead him out of turn number 7 for sure, tightening up mid-pack as well. We saw a lot of great mid-pack racing. We know we had a couple of drivers out front. Brienza, we saw him out front. Obviously, Quinn Armstrong in round number 1. Giaffoni was right there. Jack Jeffers was there as well. But that battle from 4th back to about 8th or 9th was really good throughout the day. They'll pop back into review here in turn number 7. That's how close the lead trio is right now. That is Brienza holding on to the top spot. Qualified on pole for all 3 races. That's $1,500 in Cooper Tire money, $500 for the pole in all 3 of those races. As we know, all these drivers right now racing for a scholarship to move in to USF 2000, valued at over $241,000. Here's your leaders coming out of 13, 14, 15, and over to 16. Opening lap looking good. 10 circuits around this 3.74 mile, 17-corner racetrack at Sebring.
the drivers here in USF Juniors. And Elliot, you were in this race, in this series last year. Good opportunity to learn not just racecraft, but you learn the culture of the series, right? You meet all the race directors. The same race directors you're going to have here, the ones you're going to have in USF 2000, in Pro 2000. Everybody involved in the series, the culture, the way we approach racing. That's really what this is all about, to get you guys dialed in to move your way up the ladder.
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to meet your race directors, the ones you're going to be working your way up through the series, hopefully all the way to IndyCar if you're one of these drivers. It's nice to be able to culture yourselves with the rest of the field you're going to be racing with, probably a lot of your career as well.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, and then get yourself situated with your first probably proper race car, unless you came from yeah, it's always good to get some car experience. It's a great program and some really great racing.
Look at this racing. You are right, Elliot. This is a big move. Here comes Giafoni to the inside. Giafoni taking advantage of Lockhart trying to find a way by, and Giafoni book it. He's gone into second. That was a really strong racecraft move for Giafoni. It was a kind of a defensive move to the inside for Brienza. Lockhart was trying to potentially go over-under to look at him, and when he opened the door coming out of turn number 3, Giafoni threw that D-Force car to the inside of 4. That gave him the inside of turn number 5 as well. Very impressive run for Giafoni as he has gone into second. They'll work their way through turn number 7, and out they come. We'll watch them pop back in front of us here in turn number 10. Brienza leading the opening circuit, but there is a long way to go. And again, I think probably every driver here now on used rubber. And look at this, they are going at it as Lockhart trying to find a way by Giafoni. Right behind them, Jack Jeffers runs 4th, Max Taylor 5th, 6th is Barker, 7th is Armstrong, 8th is Ho, 9th Facuri, 10th is Eder, Schulten, Golan, and Cabrera round out the top 13, the 13 drivers in the field. But I'll tell you, we are dialing the wick up here. We're turning this one up to 11. Because it is aggressive here. Everybody trying to get a race win. Look at this. Lockhart back to the inside. Turn number 16, a tough place to do it. Lockhart right there on him. They'll work their way out of turn number 16, and we've struggled to get that camera going again. We had another driver, a VRD driver, further back has gone off on the outside of turn number 16. But needed issues with our turn 17 cam, so we'll pick them up when they come back out of turn 17 down to 1. So what happened there? Because Lockhart going to the inside of turn 16, Elliot, that's not really the place to make the pass, because if you get the pass done, you're going to lose so much room or so much speed coming out of the corner. Everybody else is going to swallow you up. We'll come back to it in a second. Let's see what all's played out with this. Brienza's going to have a decent little lead. Giafoni's still holding the spot, but this has brought Taylor and Jeffers back in. In fact, Max Taylor has, I think, got by Jack Jeffers. Here's a move to the inside, a little further back. That's Jeffers going to the inside, I think, trying to get by Taylor. Oh, and there's a dropped wheel for Lockhart. Lockhart's gone wide off of turn 1. He holds the spot. Jeffers still looking to the inside. Aggressive racing here right now. Wow, we're only 2 laps in, and Elliot, they're throwing it down.
They're driving like it's 2 laps to go. It's crazy right now. I'm not surprised, but it'd definitely probably be more beneficial for them to settle in.
And this is where we hope these drivers will kind of get the idea of this, right? This is USF Juniors. This is the development level. This is where you learn the racecraft to move into USF 2000. It's one of the reasons why we started this program last year. Number 12 coming down pit lane, that's Ethan Barker. He was the driver who went off the track, whether it was a mistake or a mechanical. Barker off the racetrack over in 15. He'll bring it up to his crew, the VRD crew here on pit lane, so he falls down to 13th. But indeed, the launch of this program, the design, was simply to give these drivers an opportunity to learn this racecraft, to get themselves dialed in to go USF 2000 racing. So many of these drivers coming right out of karts, or potentially F4, or the Skip Barber Racing School, whatever it may be. Of course, Skip Barber is our official racing school now. Great to have Skip Barber on board. They are the official racing school of the USF Pro Championships. They're inviting drivers to compete for over $500,000 in prizes, including a $100,000 scholarship for their Skip Barber Racing School Formula Car Series champion to move into USF Juniors next year. So thrilled to have them on board as their official school. But again, this battle up front, these guys are going at it so early. Everybody fighting for position. Lockhart right there. It's Lockhart and his teammate Max Taylor. They got together in race number 2. Why do I feel like someone pressed the reset button and we're going to do it all over again?
They're really close, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I hope they're being smart and can focus on catching the leader instead.
Well, you know that they sat them down, Dan Mitchell did in the crew, after the incident that affected both those drivers in race number 2. Brienza is now holding a pretty good lead over Giafoni. A little bit of a gap now. Here comes a move, though, for the number 16 to Quinn Armstrong. He's trying to go to the outside right now of Jack Jeffers. Jeffers on the inside, him on the outside. Coming in there as well is Lucas Facuri. So those two D-Force drivers are trying to get by the exclusive Autosport number 92 of Jack Jeffers. Jeffers a couple of third place finishes rather in the first 2 races, and that's race 1 winner Quinn Armstrong on him. Now, Elliot, you know, you win the opening race. You had an absolute rocket. You come out of the gate, you score the victory. He ends up finishing second in race number 2, and now here he is running in 6th. Is there a frustration maybe, man? You won the first one. Why am I not as fast? What is it? Is that a mental thing you drivers have to deal with?
It's definitely a challenge for sure, knowing you have the car to win, that you've done it before. You have to remember to stay smart. It's hard for any driver after having something like that happen, just to stay smart, bring home points, and reset even onto the next race, but obviously focus on this one as much as you can until the end. But just focus on finishing. It's in the points, and bringing it back into the next race of the season with good points.
I did the same thing. Elliot saw the action coming out of turn number 10, took a deep breath like, oh my God, what is happening right now? Because they were too wide coming out of turn number 10. Jimmy Lockhart in that 48 throwing everything right now at Nicholas Giafoni. Right now, again, it is Brienza leading the way, trying to get that victory that has eluded him thus far on Thursday and Friday. And a little bit of room there for Giafoni now. As you can see, Jack Jeffers right there. And these two VRD drivers going at it again. Jimmy Lockhart and Max Taylor. A little further back, you got Carson Eder and Eric Schotten. Here's a couple drivers here, the D-Force drivers as well. That's going to be, I believe, Ethan Ho and Brady Golan. That's for the final position inside the top 10. But, man, I'm telling you, the action right now up front, at least not up front, because let's be real, Joey Brienza's putting good laps. He's thrilled because any of you drivers get out front. We've all done this. I want the lead, and I want everybody else behind me to battle. He's got Giafoni by himself. He's pulling away a little. You can see the gap. But, man, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, those guys are going at it still.
It's always crazy to see, and always a good thing to see when you're the leader and you just watch that pack close up behind you and everybody's fighting for like a seven car battle for second place. You just know if you put some laps together, you're probably going to get home with the win, and I'm assuming that's just probably what Joey Brienza's doing.
Yeah, Joey's going to put down those good laps, try to be smart. Here's his battle further back. Looks to be like I think Quinn Armstrong was able to get by, but that's the 48 of Lockhart. He's lost a couple of spots. Indeed, a little bit of trouble there for Lockhart in the 48. He's gone back a bit. So Lockhart, who was P4 across the line, I want to say he may have lost a couple of spots. I think both Quinn Armstrong and Jack Jeffers were able to get by. So we'll reset things coming back around. It'll be crossed halfway flags next time by as they all work their way now down into turn number 7. Brienza's lead, almost 2 seconds, 1.8 seconds last time by. Early on in the run, once you've got going, I know this, at least from my experience and a lot of other drivers we've talked to, Elliot, the opening couple laps kind of hectic. But once you get in, 4 or 5 laps in, especially midway through, you kind of settle back into the groove. You know the drivers you're racing with. You have an idea of what your potential outcome could be based on where you are.
Right. You know how your car feels. You know how your like projected outcome could be. What the maximum you can do is. Your goal is just to put together some quick laps, maximize what you have, and not go for too much.
That's it. You don't want to overshoot. A lot of times it's about managing expectations. I always go back to the Iceman, Scott Dixon. He's the guy who wins championship after championship because he brings the car home with whatever he's got. Some days he doesn't have a race-winning car, and he knows it, but he maximizes it, and he'll find himself on the podium. He didn't have a race-winning car, but you start banking podium after podium, top 5 after top 5. And by the time you get to the stretch run, you're going to find yourself in championship contention. Turn 17, camera back up. There's the lead right now. And a little pinch to the inside for Max Taylor as he's trying to hold off to the outside run. Look at Quinn trying to go the outside. No, and he loops it. He gets into the bumps on the outside of 17, and Quinn Armstrong goes around. That was I think he was running potentially 4th. So Armstrong has gone around. He got that thing to the outside, and I'll tell you, these cars are stiffly sprung. You got to run the inside line. You get outside like that. I'll tell you, Ethan, Elliot, there you go. Don't run the outside line tomorrow.
Especially not in turn 17. It's not where you want to be in these cars with how stiff they are. he had the run, so he went for it, and unfortunately it didn't work out.
You know what? I like that. He did go for it. He was trying to get the run on the outside of Max Taylor. That was potentially for third. I talked about the fact he had won early and was struggling around a little bit here. So, indeed, a tough one there for him. He'll fall all the way down to 12th position. Not sure yet if he's been able to refire and rejoin the field. We'll see with live time and gets back up again here. But that's a tough one there for Quinn Armstrong, who came out of the gate with a race win, fifth in race number 2, and has fallen down to 12th spot now here in race number 3. Going for third, trying around the outside of Max Taylor. But again, for you guys in USF 2000, a good look at what can potentially happen if you're trying to run outside. You can see him get around the outside, and it looks like the cart jinked a bit, and he actually went a full cart width even wider.
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of bumps on the outside of turn 17. If you're going to go for a pass, you got to get done really early in the corner. Otherwise, you're going to be offline. And turn 17, there's one line you can run. Otherwise, you're out in the marbles and bumps, and it doesn't work out very well.
So last time by, Brienza, Giafoni, Taylor, Jefferson, Lockhart, top 5. Fakuri up into 6th. Eder in 7th. Schouten in 8th. Golan 9th, and top 10 is Ethan Ho. Giovanni Cabrera running in 11th. Quinn Armstrong in 12th. And as we know, an issue there for Ethan Barker early. He is pulled into pit lane in the VRD racing machine. The Texan out P13. Here come your leaders once again down the straight. There's your current gap for Joey Brienza, is looking for his first career USF Juniors victory. A couple of second-place finishes. He'll roll that car into Sunset Bend, turn number 17, pretty wide on the exit. A little more, I think, narrow on the entry. You can kind of push it wide a bit on the exit. He's got a solid lead, 1.9 seconds. Went purple last time by with a 2:12.487. We'll see what kind of lap time he has here to put lap number 6 in the books. Lap 6, his fast lap still 2:12.487. So a good lap time there for Brienza, 2.1 seconds over Nicholas Giafoni, who won race number 2. Behind them now, Max Taylor. Here's Max Taylor right there for VRD Racing. That's third. Jack Jeffers looking to get another top 5. Third place in the both of the first 2 races, potentially a P4 for Jack Jeffers, as he has a full second on Jimmy Lockhart. Lockhart was running up front. You can see him getting a little wild a couple of times. He ended up falling back, had an issue over in turn 1 and went off track a bit. Gathered it back up, and Lockhart currently P5. Quinn Armstrong back on the track, indeed refiring, continuing on. So Armstrong back up now into the 11th spot, 15 seconds behind Ethan Ho. So that's going to be it, I believe, for Quinn Armstrong. And that's an issue, man. It's what do you do there? You don't want to pull a driver back. You want to push him. Like, you'll get this, I know, when your crew's with you. They want you to be aggressive. Sometimes you got to pull back a little bit, but you never want to have to push your driver. It's always better to try to pull them back, right?
It's always good. I have some really good guys on my team. They always tell me if I'm getting a little too aggressive, just to back off, relax, and get what I can out of it. But it's a mistake that'll happen, especially in the junior series that we're in right now for USF Pro Championships. It's a learning experience, especially in USF Juniors. And everybody's going to have it happen. But a time or two, it's always good to get it out of the way in these series.
Joey Brienza has not put a wheel wrong all weekend thus far here, both Thursday and Friday action. Led early, qualified on pole, led both races early. Got reeled in by Quinn Armstrong, who had a hot rod in the opening race. Then, of course, as we know, Felipe Giafoni, or Nicholas Giafoni rather, Felipe his father, Nicholas Giafoni, was the driver to beat in race number 2. He was able to reel him in, made a move by, a couple of minor mistakes, but still held on for the spot. So Nicholas doing a good job there. But, as I said, it was not Brienza making any kind of mistakes. It was just sheer pace. They've been able to dial in this car, and he is looking good right now. Another driver with a bit of issues coming through turn 17. That was Fakuri. It is a tough way to go through that corner. These cars, if you're not placed perfectly, you literally have to roll the corner in there and just wait for the thing to take a set again before you get back onto the power. I think if you're not quite there and you're on power too early, the thing's going to be like a bucket Bronco for you.
Definitely. There's a few certain bumps, at least in preseason testing, that I found, like, you have to wait until you're over those to get on the power. Otherwise, you either just plowing an outside wall or you'll spin on one of those bumps for carrying too much speed. It's definitely a hard corner, and you feel like you want to push it more than you really can.
So the lap, the lead lap right now, or the lead right now, 1.8 seconds, as Giafoni just turned a fast lap, a 2:12.119. He was about 0.3 quicker than Brienza last time by. So we see another challenge here for Giafoni. 3 laps to go. He's going to have to be about 0.6 quicker a lap if he wants to close up on Brienza. And I guarantee the guys on the radio will be telling Joey, listen, he's coming up a little bit here. You better dial things in. There's the number 16 of Quinn Armstrong as he's trying to close back up here on Ethan Ho. Was significantly quicker on the last lap. So potential top 10 here for Quinn Armstrong. I wonder whether or not Ethan Ho may have some kind of damage on the car because he was quicker than the 2:16s he's running right now. We watched him, of course, qualify much better than that. He was further up the field with a 2:11.5 in qualifying, so could be a potential damage machine for Ethan Ho, and that could put him in harm's way in terms of Armstrong coming through to try to work his way back into the top 10. Nonetheless, this driver here for Exclusive Autosport, the Colorado driver Joey Brienza leading the way. There is the next group coming through. That's Fakuri, I believe, there. As we're back on it, here come the drivers out of turn number 16. It's Brienza, Giafoni, Taylor, Jeffers, and Lockhart. That's your top 5. And indeed, Giafoni closing up a little bit potentially here. 1.8 seconds was the gap last time by. We'll watch Brienza and how he takes turn 17. Let's see how this car looks coming through. A little bit of a bump. Handles it pretty well. A little bit more of a wider, I think, on the apex for Giafoni. We'll keep looking at lap times. Brienza's got to keep his head down because Giafoni's still coming. 1.8 seconds was the gap. There'll be 2 to go this time by. Watching live timing, call it 1.5 seconds. Giafoni, 0.3 of a second quicker. It's a second and a half now, but he's going to have to get at least 7 or 0.8 of a second these next 2 laps. Brienza, though, wants that victory. 2 second-place finishes. Needs to get the win. Always talk about that first victory, Elliot, to get the monkey off the back, right? You want that first win at the start of the season. It takes so much pressure off. That's something you'll be looking forward to try to get here tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, I think we have a really good opportunity for my Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing drive planning team. We were really fast in preseason testing, top 3 the whole time here, and I think we have a really good opportunity for a few podiums and even a win if we work hard enough.
Let's talk a little bit. We have some time here with a couple laps. So obviously, we're going to want to focus on the final lap. But you've got a lot of stuff going on. Your drive for dyslexia. You have so much stuff going on. I saw you giving some speeches. You got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I have a charity called Driving for Dyslexia. I'm a dyslexic race car driver. We raise money to train teachers in Orton Gillingham tutoring, which helps kids with dyslexia learn how to read. Long story short, I have been speaking to a lot of kids in classrooms, trying to empower them if they have a disability or trouble reading. And there was actually just an announcement that I'm going to speak at the World Dyslexia Summit in New York City next week, which is pretty awesome. I get to speak alongside Richard Branson, Rashawn, that plays for the Green Bay Packers. It'll be awesome.
That is super exciting. You're obviously doing some great work. Here's this battle right now. Oh, side by side coming through 16. Let's refocus on the race as that was Jack Jeffers throwing it to the inside there on Max Taylor. They are battling it out. I think Jimmy Lockhart right in there as well. Lockhart had just turned the fastest lap with a 2:12.065. Lockhart, one of the fastest drivers. There's first and second, but third, fourth, and fifth are dialing it in. You can see Lucas Fakuri back there as well. Jeffers was getting a little bit anxious, made a move to the inside of turn 16. Here comes Lockhart, and indeed Lockhart is gone into fourth. Jeffers back to P5. So the VRD drivers, Taylor and Jeffers, running third and fourth. Let's see if we see it again. Potentially a battle between the 2 VRD drivers. Here's the fight coming into turn number 1. VRD side by side. Lockhart trying the outside. Is he going to hold on? Jeffers is right there. Lockhart's through. But down to the inside comes Taylor. Side by side for the 2 VRD drivers coming through turn number 4. Over to 5. Jeffers is going to go down to the inside as well. What a scrap here right now. This is for third, fourth, and fifth. Brienza is gone. Giafoni second, but we are not done at all. The fight coming out of turn number 6 to 7. Jeffers kind of stepping back to have a look at it here. It's Taylor to the inside, Lockhart to the outside, into turn number 7. Do they get through 7 cleanly? They do so far. Hold your breath if you're on the sidelines for VRD, because Taylor and Lockhart, elbows up again. Final lap here in USF Juniors, the third race of the triple header, and there is the leader, Brienza. That's the gap back to Giafoni, race 2 winner. Brienza, the point leader, coming in with a couple of second-place finishes. And, yeah, they're going at it. Lucas Fakuri back here as well for D-Force. He's taking advantage of it. Jack Jeffers better watch out because the Brazilian ready to fight. But it is Taylor and Lockhart. How's this going to finish? Because remember, we got 16. We got 17. Here comes your leader, Brienza. One more time through 15 and 16 for Brienza. One more time through 17. Here come that group for the final position on the podium. Lockhart doesn't throw it down the bottom. What happens in 17? And here they come, the final run down the Ullman Straight for USF Juniors. They have been so impressive throughout this week. I've been unbelievably impressed by these young drivers. The fight, though, you can see in the middle of the racetrack. Brienza and Giaffoni are going to be clean coming through 17. Let's keep it here because here's the scrap. They're going to go side by side. Who's going to try the outside? That's Lockhart trying the outside. We've seen this before. They're side by side coming through. Jeffers to the bottom. Who's going to get a bet? Oh, Jeffers with a big run. This is going to be a side-by-side run. Brienza wins his first one in USF Juniors. Joey Brienza for Exclusive Autosport, winning race 3 at Sebring for USF Juniors. 1.479 the margin. Nicholas Giaffoni backs up a win in race 2 with a strong run to second. And Jimmy Lockhart at the line, the last lap, the fastest. No, lap 8 was his fast lap. He's able to get the position. The margin, 56 thousandths of a second. Jimmy Lockhart on the podium in 3rd, Max Taylor 4th, and Jack Jeffers 5th. That was the last lap we like to see here at Sebring. I will tell you, you probably would rather be in Brienza's spot than Lockhart's spot when it comes this weekend, Elliot, but that was some good racing. And hold on, 3 straight green to checker races in USF Juniors.
That's incredible for these younger drivers. Their first race in this lower rank in the series is really great to see green to checkered racing. It's really a testament to karting, the racecraft that they've gotten on their way up through the ranks throughout the SCUSA Series, Stars Championship Series. It's just a testament to all karting right now, as well as these drivers just staying patient and staying clean, especially in that 3rd group coming through, was really great.
Elliot Cox, thanks for joining me up here. I appreciate it. You got the drive planning machine ready to go here today for Sarah Fisher-Hartman Racing Development. Good luck this weekend. Again, thanks for joining me, bud.
Thank you for having me.
Elliot Cox, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be back on track alongside a bunch of drivers in USF 2000 here on Saturday and Sunday. They'll take to the track first thing tomorrow morning with their practice session. But the driver there who's got the win, he's been trying to get it all week long. 2 second places and now a win for Joey Brienza. He wins over Nicholas Giaffoni and Jimmy Lockhart after a fantastic battle, a 4-way fight for the final position on the podium. It's Brienza, Giaffoni, Lockhart, Taylor, and Jeffers. Fakuri ends up in 6th, Golan in 7th, Schouten in 8th, Ho 9th, Armstrong 10th, Eder, Cabrera, and Barker rounding out the 13 drivers in the field. Folks, a little break in the action. We're going to head down to Victory Lane to talk with Joey Brienza and hand out some hardware to he, Giaffoni, and Lockhart.
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
Ready? And it's all thanks to Kyle.
Thank you. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper! It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
We're like any normal family. We just get shorter wait times because we buy and book online at discounttire.com.
So easy.
Which gives us more time for things like...
Come on, Mom.
It's ready.
Wow. Are you sure it's ready?
Oh, it's ready. And it's all thanks to Kyle.
Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at discounttire.com.
Let's get you taken care of.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man.
Well, ladies and
I
gentlemen,
stepped in
we're
it.
down here in Victory Lane getting things
Go with the
underway.
Coopers.
Cap off our final USF Juniors race with a celebration here. And I think first and foremost, let's just throw this out here. 3 straight green to checker races for the drivers in USF Juniors. Congratulations to all 13 drivers. Wow. That was, I think, not something everybody expected. Some really good racing, side-by-side action. It was exciting for sure. All part of this Cooper Tires Grand Prix of Sebring. Let's bring up the driver coming home in 3rd spot today. What a tremendous drive. The trophies are already up here, but finishing in 3rd spot, an outside run in turn 17 to get the position by just 56 thousandths of a second. His first podium, Jimmy Lockhart for VRD Racing, P3. Good job, Jimmy. Saw this driver up on top of the podium yesterday. He fought his way back forward, so a win in race number 2 earlier today, and he ends up with 2nd today. He's definitely in the championship fight for D-Force Racing, finishing 2nd, Nicholas Giaffoni. Again, for the driver here who started on the pole for all 3 races, 2 second-place finishes to start things off. Needed that victory and got it done here today. A flawless performance, over 10 laps. The winner for Exclusive Auto Sports, Joey Brienza. Joey, I can see it in your face, obviously. I can see it in your face. A couple second-place finishes weren't getting the job done after you qualified on pole. Good jump here. They fought behind you, but you didn't put a wheel wrong all weekend long.
Yeah, I just had to make you guys sweat a little bit. First off, I want to say hi to my mom and my dad that are at home. I know they're going to be, and my brother and sister. They're probably all watching, and a little early birthday to my brother. So happy 13th, G. I got you a win, bro.
How did it feel out there? Did the track did it stay the same, or did it kind of change at all over the first couple of races?
Yeah, so it definitely changed for sure. More than just track temps. Obviously, it was greasy yesterday, and then cool and really gripped up in the morning, and then greasy again today. So really had to adapt my driving to the track to make sure that, you know, I was changing with the track and not letting the track change me.
First win's obviously crucial. How do you feel? Give me the emotions of getting that victory.
Dude, I feel pumped right now. I'm really happy. Obviously, it's a long year, and we got to keep our heads down and keep working, but it's positive, and I'm really happy for the team. I mean, they worked hard all weekend, and to give them a win at the end is definitely sweet, and, you know, just beyond myself, it takes a team, so I'm really pumped for them.
Yeah, I'll give you one more chance. Who do you want to thank today?
First off, my parents. You know, thank you, Mom, Dad, Gabby, and Johnny, my little brother and little sister. And then everybody at EA, Michael and Kim Duncalf, they run a fantastic organization and race team. And then my engineer, Lou, just giving me a rocket ship all weekend long. My mechanic, Brian, killing it, working hard, especially after we had the electrical issue. Brian, Rod, Anthony, Evan, Connor, just everybody on the team jumped in on the car to get it fixed, and we got it sorted for today. So really grateful to all of them. And let me look. Thank you, Cooper Tires, and thank you, Corpay.
Well done. Grab that first place trophy, man. You got 2 second place ones already. Get that thing in the air. One more time. Round of applause for Joey Brienza, the winner today in race number 3. He'll be the point leader heading to Barber Motorsports Park. 3 straight podiums for Brienza. And he gets that win that he was looking for yesterday and, of course, earlier today. Little hat dance action happening. We'll bring some Discount Tire hats in here as well, of course. Great to have Discount Tire on board with us this year as part of our driver development scholarship program, and a lot of great stuff coming from Discount Tire. Great to have them again as one of our partners for 2023 and beyond. Get the shots we need here with the Discount Tire hats, and of course we'll bring the champagne out. We'll let the exclusive Autosport crew push that car out of the way if they want so it doesn't get covered in champagne. EA, if you want to move that car out of the way, otherwise it's going to get covered in sticky apple cider. So again, what a tremendous day it's been so far. We had our USF Pro 2000 drivers join the party. They'll be running on Friday and Saturday. USF 2000 coming in for tomorrow and Sunday. You guys got time to wash those suits, so have at it. All right, guys, let's have some celebration. Grip it and rip it. It is champagne time for USF Juniors and Joey Brienza getting the win. Giafoni back on the podium as well. Great job for Nicholas. And Jimmy Lockhart with an outside run around his teammate Max Taylor. Great job for him to go to P3 by just 56 thousandths of a second. And check this out, folks. 3 different teams on the podium as well. Exclusive Autosport, D-Force Racing, and VRD Racing. What a great lineup of drivers we have here in USF Juniors. The first rung of the USF Pro Championships. 2 days down, 2 more to go. Tomorrow, USF 2000 coming to join the party with USF Pro 2000. So again, fantastic, guys. Great day. Thank you so much for tuning in on the broadcast. We got more to come. And again, congratulations to all the drivers here from USF Juniors, as we will now look forward to Barber Motorsports Park at the end of April when they'll race Thursday and Friday alongside the NTT IndyCar Series. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. My name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.